there will be times where you step up a level or a band or however people term it in their organisations. But there are lots of little incremental moves. And what I would say is don't have it mapped. Don't think this is what I'm going to do and I'm going to do it until I get to retirement age, or these are the steps I must achieve. Just be open to opportunity, open to something different, because you'll grow and learn so much. Hi, I'm Helen. I am the head of talent at Dunelm. We are a soft furnishings retailer for those that maybe aren't as familiar. So basically that means we sell everything that goes inside the home. Apart from the bricks and mortar, we pretty much sell it. I've been with the business for 16 years this year, doing a variety of different roles. And currently, as I said, I'm the head of talent, which looks after our talent strategy and also the learning and development team. Within the team, there are 9 of us, and we support every colleague across the business with their learning and development needs. And that can involve anything from technical skills, development, kind of things that development for people to be able to do their jobs. It also touches on behaviours and leadership, anything basically that would allow people to be really effective in the roles that they're doing within the business. And we have a variety of different functions as well. So we're quite a complex business in terms of we have stores. We also have our office-based functions such as technology, finance, buying and merchandising. But then we also have our own home delivery network and distribution network and a manufacturing centre. So we manufacture curtains and window dressings for customers' homes. And we also have a customer service centre. So we have quite a broad need within the organisation, lots of similarity around leadership and behaviour, but also lots of variety in terms of technical skills and variety of roles in the organisation to support. I've always grown up in Leicestershire. So I'm from a very small sleepy town in Leicestershire. And what I would say is I've had as I look back at my younger self, I think now that as I see what society is like and the diverse workforce that we have within Dunelm and what that means in the world, I realise I had quite a sheltered upbringing. So there was nobody of a different colour to me or a different race to me, particularly in my school. So yeah, really sort of sleepy upbringing, I suppose. Lovely and idyllic as I look back, but similarly, if I think about, the diverse nature of the world, it was quite sheltered in that regard. I went through the normal routes of school and I did A-levels. School was not my thing. I didn't really enjoy the kind of more formal learning process, but definitely felt my next step should be to do A-levels and should be to go to university. Wasn't probably looking back the right thing for me, but actually I felt that was an expectation. Not there was any pressure, but I felt that was just what I should do. I did do that and I did qualify. I've got a BA honours, but I did it through a HND route, so a higher national diploma, which is more practical, suited me better. And then I was able to do a top-up year to make it a BA honours degree. Hated that final year, sitting in lectures, writing essays, completing a dissertation, because it, again, as I mentioned, just didn't suit my style, but definitely felt like that's something I should have. And then after finishing university, like a lot of people, I couldn't find a job. So I got into retail like lots of people do, because, working part-time in retail, started with Asda. And that's kind of where my retail journey started. And I went through a number of different retailers in my career, moving into kind of more of a management type role. And what got me into learning and development was I was able to take a secondment opportunity. So we were rolling out a project within at a previous business, and that was to deliver training to people for new till systems, and felt like I needed a little bit something different and something new. So I thought, yeah, why not? Let's give that a try, and did that. And that really sparked my interest in developing people and the want and desire to help people, which is kind of at the core of my value system, really. And then I had to go back to my job at the end of the secondment, end of the project rollout, and working in the shop. And I realised that actually this is not where I want to be anymore. And that's when I started at Dunelm as a training advisor at the time, to be able to continue kind of tapping into that want and desire to help and support people. During my time at Dunelm, I've had 2 children, and that's meant different things. Going off on maternity and coming back to a job is quite challenging in its own right. And I went from full-time to part-time and did a variety of different roles to allow me to be part-time within our people function. So I've moved from learning and development into recruitment. And then the business decided to do a bit of a restructure of the people team, and my role became redundant. So I was going through a redundancy process, which was literally the worst thing ever. To not know you've got security is really important to me, and to not know if I've got a job or how am I going to pay my bills, what does that look like for me was awful. And I made the decision to stay within the organization because there was a role that was in a completely different department, something I'd never done before. But what was really important to me was that I had a job I could continue to provide for my family. So I took a job in the commercial team as a personal assistant for the buying director at the time. And I was in that role for a couple of years. I didn't enjoy it, as in I liked the team and the people I worked with, but the role didn't suit me. Yeah. But as I look back, what it did do, it gave me a stepping stone for the role that I moved into. So I then moved back into the learning and development function as they expanded what their remit was. And at this point, Dunelm didn't have a very big learning and development offering. So we were setting that up for the first time for the support centres. And it was a brand new role and I applied for it and I was successful. When I was going through the redundancy process, businesses need to make decisions that are the right decisions for them, for the longevity at that point in time. But and what I did know going through that process, it wasn't about my capability. It was about the business needs to be focused in a slightly different way, meaning the structure is a slightly different way. So they supported me in being able to try and find an opportunity that would fit my skill set. Absolutely wasn't where I wanted to be because I was enjoying the role that I was doing, but they wanted to keep me within the organisation and supported me through that process, helping me with kind of connecting me with the buying director at the time who I didn't know, kind of help me to build a relationship with her to support that sort of transition. So I guess sometimes when these things happen, it's important to remember it's not about, in a redundancy situation, for example, it's not that, your skill set isn't right, that you're not capable. It's the business is going in a slightly different direction, meaning that, things have to change, and it's being able to embrace those changes, I suppose, as much. I'm not saying it wasn't hard, it was really hard, but you have to kind of take it for what it is and embrace it and move forward and see what opportunity is out there for you. So, and obviously I can look back now in hindsight and see that it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, really. So was able to move back into learning and development, which is absolutely where my passion is. I feel like where I can best utilise the skills that I have, and was able to use the relationships through being a PA. I was working every day with the exec team and the really senior leadership team in the business, which meant that I'd got really great foundations and relationships to then go on and do something different. And be able to, when trying to implement something brand new, it wasn't something that, it's a people team thing that often, organizations, you can get that. It was, Helen wants to talk to me about something and I know Helen and I have a relationship with her and I see her as really credible. So yes, I'm going to, give her some of my time and support the initiative. So it was part of the reason why that was a success, is that bump that I had for a couple of years gave me so much experience and relationship building and value to what I'm now doing. And still, even now, I'm talking to people that I was absolutely talking to at that point in time when I was in that different role. I do talk to our early careers colleagues, so the graduates or the placement students and things, and talk to them about, even if you do a placement or a rotation in a particular area that you think, I don't want to do that, but at least having a go, understanding it, which helps in terms of the full picture of how that piece of the jigsaw slots into the big puzzle that is Dunelm, is really helpful. And even if nothing else, it helps to tell you, I don't want to do that. You've experienced it, you understand it, to know that for my journey ahead, that's not a path I want to take. Whereas sometimes if you just disregard it without understanding some of the values that, or the experience can bring you, is really important, because you can gain so much from any experience. It's just being able to take the positives out of it, I think. So then my journey from that, back in the learning development team, as I've progressed through the organisation, through the levels, moving from L&D advisor all the way up to L&D manager, senior manager, and now I'm head of talent, seconded into a head of talent role, looking after the job while my line manager is off having a baby. And a great experience to be exposed to, again, the exec team again, but in a very different capacity. And I'm really relishing in that process. And I suppose there's only one other bump I would describe that I've had that's kind of been really significant. It was more on a personal level. So a few years ago, my husband quite very quickly became very seriously ill. That meant he required surgery that was, at the time, it was temporary, but it was life-changing whilst it was temporary. And what the business, no quabble or qualm, were, how can we help? How can we help fix this life-changing situation for somebody that doesn't work for them, not an employer of theirs, but knowing it was really important to me. And I guess why that was really helpful, it was a hugely traumatic time in our family. And but what the business did was showed the value that they saw in me, I suppose, that they understand that they see value in the role that I play, but also it's not just about me, it's about the bigger picture of me and my family, and knowing that how they can support and help make my family's life better is going to make me be better at being able to focus on the things that I need to in my job. And I didn't even ask. It was just, let's fix this. How can we fix this? So I was hugely grateful for that. And I guess it's that thing about relationships with your employer or where you work, you feel a real connection to them, and that works both ways. And the business feels connected to me, was able to support me, and I feel that equal level of commitment back to the business, because they did something that was quite extraordinary, I think, because I did tell people about it. They're like, oh my goodness, they did that. And I was like, yeah. And it wasn't even I had to kind of go and ask cap in hand. It was just, let's make this better. That was just, I remember having the conversation with the people director, and she was just like, we just need to make this better. I would say, don't have it mapped out. And I know I'm further into my career, so it's easy to say that. But if I think about what I thought was the things I should do A-levels, go to university, then, get a job in the sector that my degree is in, which is in business. That's kind of, this is what I should do. And it hasn't panned out that way. If I look back, I would have rather done something more like an apprenticeship like they have now, that would really have suited my style better, how I like to learn, how I like to get the best out of myself. So often people might describe, you'll hear it talking a lot about what's the your career path, or what's the career ladder you're going on. And ladder would describe upward. And actually, I like to think about it of what is a career lattice. So if you think about how it would interlink, there's sideways moves within the function that you're in. There's doing something completely different that will give you very different skill sets, very different exposure to different business areas, different individuals. And often it's kind of, you'll interweave and you'll work your way through your career. And there will be times where you step up a level or a band, or however people term it in their organizations. But there are lots of little incremental moves. And what I would say is, don't have it mapped. Don't think this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it until I get to retirement age, or these are the steps I must achieve. Just be open to opportunity, open to something different, because you'll grow and learn so much.